Saludos familia, bienvenidos al episodio 6, siempre me pasa, ¿verdad? Al episodio 6 de Hipótesis.
Number 6.
Hoy estoy aquí con Tyler Smith y eso quiere decir que nos vamos en English hoy, ¿ok? Así que hoy vamos a estar hablando un poco de qué es quiropraxia y todo ese tipo de cosas. Tyler is a chiropractic at Natural Health Chiropractic.
Yep.
And also, you guys have Humidity and Remedy, right?
Yeah, just opened Remedy just in February.
So we're going to be talking about all of your profession and then talk about the services that you guys offer over there. So let's start with, like, what's your role as a health professional? Like,
Just in terms of being a chiropractor?
yeah, just in terms of being a chiropractor.
Well, for me, it's really, it's all about people's being able to function the way they want to, right? So I'm trying to look at people from a standpoint of why can't you do what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
So most people come to a chiropractor and it's neck pain, headaches, low back pain.
Yeah.
But for me, that's the symptom. So I'm looking at it, okay, so the symptom is why you're here, but what's caused the symptom to show up? So maybe it's poor posture or poor lifting technique or just emotional stress. All these other things actually lead your body to start getting all these malfunctions, and then eventually leads to symptom. So that's what I'm looking for as far as why can't you do what you want to do? How can I help you restore or kind of reverse the curse to get to a point where you can touch your toes again, or you can sit in a chair, office chair, for 6 hours without being in excruciating pain. So for me, it's just function. I'm not so much concerned about where the pain level is or how often you have headaches, but I want to find out what's causing them and then reverse it. So it's all about lifestyle for me.
That's what I love about you guys. I went there, I guess, like 7 years ago almost. Because
Yeah,
I remember, I remember that that was during the CrossFit Open back then, and that was my first Open ever. And right, like by the fourth or fifth workout, we found out that we were expecting Mauro. So obviously the priorities changed, and I was taking care of myself. So from the coaching standpoint of view, what I love about you guys is that you guys like actually did a assessment on me, like, why are you here? Let's do this, let's do that, let's do the x-rays, let's scan your spine and stuff like that, and then let's get from there and treat you.
Yeah, for us, we maybe treat people a little different than a lot of other physical therapists or chiropractors, because we do tend to not just palpate, okay, your spine, but maybe it's your hip or your ankle that are causing your low back to have to do more work, which makes it the painful area, but really it's poor hip
the problem
mobility.
is from somewhere else.
It's somewhere else. So we're looking at it from kind of taking a step back, whole body, and then as far as treatment, instead of just lay down, face down, pop, clack, crick, and you're out the door, it's more palpate, see what's tight, what's not, how does your ankle move, is it the calf, is it the joint of the talus, and then do something to correct it, the adjustment, and then some sort of soft tissue work, because we try to hit joint, muscle, and then that totally, both those two things together affect how the nervous system works, which that's when people feel better.
Yeah, that's what I love about you guys. Like, usually people, when they have some sort of pain, usually they go like to a physical therapist or something like that, and they start having like 15 sessions or 20 sessions because they have a back spasm, for example, and then they don't feel like they are getting better. But that approach that you guys have, like, but why you have that spasm, you know, you fix it way better, because it's you have the problem on your muscle, but maybe your muscle has that problem because you're compensating on other area. And the other thing that I love, obviously, in my case, I used to be a weightlifting athlete, so I get to be with a lot of professionals, and my first adjustments were just like that, like pop, 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 go. And I remember when I got off the chair, and then you guys brought me to the other room and starting with the tents and the massage. I was like, oh my God,
rooms over there.
This is so different.
There's room after room.
Yeah, and then you after that, you took me to the other room and worked on. I have military neck, so you guys work on me, and started doing all those exercises and creating awareness, because obviously you can adjust me 3 times a week for 12 months, but if I don't do those adjustments, I won't be able to get better.
And that's the thing we try to hit, but also that's a big problem with chiropractic too. It's powerful, but it's not the only thing that's needed. So I can adjust someone 3 times a week, but if they go home and sit with poor posture and eat a terrible diet, stress with work, all these things are gonna keep coming back and add up. Whereas if they start taking the steps of, okay, I'm gonna work on my posture and
my
stand up more
ergonomy
often.
on the office and stuff like that.
Okay, stress techniques and actually stretching for more than 10 seconds. Or doing, going to the gym, doing things where they create movement. All those things add up. So it just, it tends to be what your lifestyle is, because my chiropractic adjustment it can help something, but it's not going to be, it's not the cure.
Yeah, it's not magic.
And it's not going to be like, oh, I don't have to go anymore. Yeah. It's the same as exercise. Like, that's kind of the thing with chiropractic. People treat it as a treatment for low back pain, rather than, I'd rather see people once a month feeling good and keep them that way forever until either I die or they die, rather than them coming in 3 times a week for 6 weeks and then, oh, you're better. And then I see them 2 years later. It's the same thing. So, for me, I'd prefer to be a wellness chiropractor. And that's what we always try to get to. But a lot of times it's pain hard. Management versus, half your clients are pain, half of them are wellness. It goes from there.
I really love that. And also I love that on your place was the first place that I saw pregnant women. Yeah. And babies, like baby kids.
Yeah, we're talking from...
And like, let's talk about that a little bit. Like, obviously on the pregnant women case, I think that it goes because of the hips and all the changes that they're going, they're passing during the pregnancy. And obviously they're getting weight. So that's a factor.
Yeah, the center of gravity is starting to change. Yeah. Everything's under more tension, like it's not used to it. So pregnant moms typically come in for low back pain, ankle and feet swelling, and of course, just the regular stuff they've been coming in before, neck and upper back, and now they're maybe less active, so they sit more. So there's certain things like that. But for us, again, it's create more motion, try to get them to be a little bit more active, go back to your regular diet. And things change when they get pregnant, like, I'm not going to do that exercise or something like that. So we try to get them back in that accent. And then the big part with chiropractic is just creating motion in sacrum, pelvis, lower back, because most of the studies show that if someone starts chiropractic care and goes throughout their term, that maybe the delivery time is cut in a third or a half, and that's pretty big. You're a dad, we're just there fanning them. You need any water or anything? Yeah. But
we're cheerleaders.
They're like, let's get this baby out.
Yeah, let's get this over with. Yeah.
But those are the big ones, and then sometimes on occasion we'll see like the baby in the wrong position. So with chiropractic and soft tissue work, sometimes the baby starts to move better position.
And that's
also a big one. Yeah, because if now you're going to C-section.
That's a whole difference. Yeah. Yep. And what about what are the benefits on babies? Because I remember being there, and I had a friend that had a baby before me, And it was like, that was so crazy. Like when I saw, you know, the popping on the kids, and he was like, he sleeps now for fucking straight 6 hours. So if I need to take this kid every day for the next 3 months or so, I'll do it.
Poops on a schedule and sleeps on a schedule. Yeah. Like, I'm sold.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with kids. Obviously, they're not like, hey, Dad, my back hurts. I got some headaches.
Exactly.
Like mostly parents see, and obviously childbirth is probably pretty traumatic, getting pulled out and twisted. But unless you see like they come out and something happened with the brachial plexus or something in their shoulder during the birth process. Usually it's pretty minor things, like the mom notices that if they breastfeed that the baby's not like latching to both sides. It'll just prefer to go to one side. So they're not saying, hey, my neck hurts and it's stuck, but they're showing you signs of, I can go this way, but I'm not able to go to the right. I can go to the left easy, but to the right, I don't like it. So they're just showing some irritation there. And most other things are visceral stuff, constipation, they get colic, trouble sleeping, trouble pooping. So those things are, and they're so little and fresh and no years of bad stressors that it doesn't take much to get them to where they need to be. So that's the cool thing. And it's not really popping, cracking either. It's more like the pressure you'd put on a grape or a tomato peel before it would break. It's just motion.
Putting trigger points on them, right?
Uh-huh. And just motion. Yep.
Yeah. Great. So we already talked about the spectrum of people that you guys can deal with. So we're going from babies all the way up till you die.
Which is pretty cool, right? You can see kids all the way to 98, as long as they can get in the office.
Exactly.
We can see them.
That's perfect, because that's what you want. Like, you want to get to your 90s as functional and independent as possible. So that's such a great
That's the goal,
advantage.
man. You want to be
old
and do what you want to do. Like, you want to garden? You can garden. You want to run marathons? You run marathons.
Do what you want.
Do what you want.
So in terms of the other, like, services, obviously you have the pop and the cracks and stuff like that, but my first experience with a Graston was with you guys. I remember.
It's a love-hate.
Oh my God, it was so hard. I remember we were cleaning some bars from the open. That's the main reason why I got there. I was cleaning the bars and I just felt stuck. It was so hard and so painful that I thought that my clavicle went off. And then I got there and I went through the x-rays and the orientation and everything. And you guys were like, you have your el esternocleidomastoideo, that muscle right here.
I see him.
Yeah. And you have it pretty tight, and you should do this technique, and probably you're tightening your teeth the whole day, going like that and stuff. And then you guys, did the process. So for those that haven't done it yet, let's talk a little bit about that, about the Graston. Like, what's the process or the science behind it? Like,
Graston is just picture like a, I hate to say it, but in movies when the torture guy comes out with the roll and you unroll it, and then there's all these silver tools of it's kind of like that. They're different. There's different shapes. They're all stainless steel. They have like a beveled edge to it, and the purpose is it came from, I believe it came from like a gua sha, which is like a Chinese therapy where they have a plastic, almost the same thing, but you hold in your hand and they scrape it, but they take it to a point of probably almost like bleeding in gua sha. And so Graston, I think a chiropractor switched it into a heavier tool, stainless steel, and then has that beveled edge. So when you go over muscles that have like these scar tissue or an adhesions in there, you can actually feel, it kind of feels like
the bumps.
You kind of feel it's like gravel underneath the skin. And that's what you're looking for. And you kind of cross friction, go side to side. And obviously you take it to a point where it starts to get little petechiae, little tiny bruises, but you don't take it much farther than that. But there's certain spots that it feels good, and there's certain spots it doesn't feel so good. It's interesting when people get Graston for the first time. They're like, I don't know if I'm coming back.
I cry.
And then they're like, okay, I need it.
I cry. Not on that
I
one.
cried a little bit.
Not on that one, but on this one. Obviously, we were during the open, so you're fucking bruised and sore the whole way. But I did cry.
Yeah, we do it quite a bit. Obviously, back and traps and things, but those things are bigger tissue, so it doesn't feel so bad.
Yeah.
But
I had
we do
it right
tons
here.
of on forearms for like plantar fasciitis on the feet. Those types of things where the problem's been there a long time, and it's kind of just trying to remodel that tissue and break up any adhesions in there. The forearms are probably one of the worst.
Yeah,
though.
this one was so hard and so tough that I even forgot that I had that one first on your place. And then your guys found out that I had a tendon pretty swole, and they sent me to a podiatrist. Así es que se dice en inglés, podiatra, podiatrist,
podiatrist.
right? Boom, ¿viste eso?
See, he knows his stuff.
So when I went there, I even had a shot from steroid because I had it so swollen up. So, and you guys helped me also with my feet because I have flat feet. So I was like, I'm living the wrong way when I got there. I'm trying to move like at a competitive way, but I can't even walk the correct way. So it was a shock. It was, but it was so helpful because from then on, I was pretty aware like the whole time.
And you're like, hey, that helped, but I don't want to do that again. So I better start stretching my calves and doing soft tissue work.
Definitely. The other thing that surprised me a lot was that typically right after we did weightlifting, which was my main sport, we take the ice bath.
Oh, yeah.
Or using ice like on the joints, the knees, the wrist was for me, in my case, it was the primary, like, and still go to this day, this wrist right here. But you guys do contrast. So you guys go like heat, and then you also use ice. Like, so let's talk a little bit about that. Why don't only you guys use ice, and why the contrast?
Well, just on the chiropractic side of it, we'll use both a lot of the times. But other times, if people are really inflamed and in pain, then we try to use ice just to kind of numb the area. But if it's something that's maybe been there a lot longer, like a chronic condition, they've had it for a long time, I prefer like moist heat packs because it kind of brings blood flow to the area, and then the tissue starts to relax more. So for me, I prefer heat in the office because someone goes to physical therapy, gets heat, electric stim, whatever it is to decrease muscle spasms. It helps me start to mobilize joints easier. When it comes into athlete recovery, it's really contrast is how does the body adapt to stress? So you might spend 20 minutes in a sauna 180 degrees, and your body has to adapt to that heat. And then you get out and you jump in a cold bath of 50 degrees. And how does your body handle that transition rather than just, I'm only going to do heat therapy versus I can handle an ice bath. So it's just best of both worlds, really.
Great. Let's talk about that. So turning a little bit left on humidity, you guys have a sauna and you have the ice bath, and you also have the air boots.
Yeah, compression boots.
The compression boots. So like what are the benefits on the compression boots? Let's start right there, and then we can go on with the other two.
Well, it basically everything in there, from vibe plate to compression boots, saunas, cold tubs, infrared saunas, traditional sauna. They're all pretty much geared towards less muscle spasms, less inflammation, obviously, which means less pain, better circulation. So compression boots, your zero gravity chair, and has different chambers, and obviously it blows up lower on your foot and then slowly goes up towards your hips. So it's kind of just like doing almost like a lymphatic massage to try to push up any lactic acid or whatever's going on, blood flow,
whatever you have
all the way
on
the way into your bigger lymphatic system so your body starts to cycle it and get rid of it. Yep. Cool. And half of them are also is just mental disconnect. Like you don't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
So it's really big time circulation, inflammation are the big ones.
That's where the best part. Like being an athlete, obviously you want to be prepared for the competition, like training wise, but also mental toughness is a pretty big aspect on it. Like I have seen athletes having all the potential on being, you know, the first place winner, and then because something happened like out of their control,
Yep.
usually they can't handle it. So
Gotta go to that dark place.
yeah, so maybe like yesterday you have a few of the guys from La UP because they're competing today in Olympic weightlifting, so they were trying to lose weight. So they were trying to cut weight so they can, you know, make the competition, the weight class. So being there like for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, I think that mentally like helps you out to, you know, to get in that zone. Like how often do you recommend to go through that process of the ice bath and the sauna?
I mean, if someone's like a competitive athlete,
Mhm.
probably once a week would be pretty good. It just depends on people's lifestyle and their training schedule and volume, I guess. But probably once a week would be good if you're spending an hour doing just recovery. But obviously, in that is during the day or the weeks that you're not like doing those things, you can do shorter periods of things of stretching or dynamic stretching,
foam rollers,
foam
stuff
rollers, and things like that. Cool down, warm up. You know, all the simple things that we don't think about, but probably once a week would probably be perfect. And that's why humidity is I don't know, the pace, the way it's set up.
Mm-hmm.
We try to make it so it's cheap enough where people will actually use it, you know, more on a regular schedule rather than like, I'm going to go to the spa for my birthday. It was more like I saw a need of people don't necessarily need me to do an adjustment for them, or they do, but then we need something else where they don't necessarily need a doctor's appointment to do. Like they can schedule it easily on their own, and when they have time, they can go do their recovery. So it was just something to try to make it a necessity, easily attainable, rather than I'm gonna go to the sauna.
That's the word. It's attainable and it's cheap because those services and the equipment that you guys have there, like, should be way expensive than it is. You know,
I mean, it's $40 for an hour, or 60 for 3 hours. So it's like you don't have to rush through it. Like
exactly.
People are like 3 hours. That seems like way too long. I'm like, well, you don't have to stay for 3 hours, but you don't have to also rush in, rush out. Like,
exactly.
You can literally get into a sauna, get out, take a cold shower,
get out,
read a book, get back in the sauna. Like you have options of. I don't know if anyone has 3 hours all the time anymore,
exactly.
but that's what it's based off. So people didn't have to rush through it. They could just. Besides the recovery aspect, is just mental. Like you don't have to think about anything. Just take it easy.
So even though Santi went with the Easter bunny and haven't trained this week,
oh no,
like a guy like him that usually trains 3 times a week, like he should go like once a month, right? At least.
Yeah, I would think so. It would just recovery, just feel better.
Para que te desconectes, papá.
Disconnect, man.
Santi, ¿cuándo vas a volver?
Detox.
Estoy en proceso,
Watching you.
Sí, pero voy para allá.
So
you might have to change his routine up.
Yeah.
So he's like, I need a cold tub, but I want to numb everything.
Yeah. So going now onto the newest place, you have their cryotherapy.
Yeah.
And I've been doing research, obviously, and I tried. I love it. But let's let the expert talk about it. Like, what are the benefits? Or let's start with the process. What is cryotherapy like?
Well, before it was all liquid nitrogen. So
I remember that the tank.
You had to have, like, when I was doing the research for humidity, obviously years of like, okay, what's this? Okay, compression bits. Yeah, I can make space for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was always like, okay, cold tub, but it's not an ice tub. But then, so people want the ice tub for, like the Wim Hof method and breathing, breath work, and mental stuff. Not even for anything with pain or inflammation. It's more mental. So I would always get questions like, "Hey, are you gonna have an ice bath?" And I'm like, "Well, I have a cold tub and a sauna." So the contrast from 180 to 50 is pretty good. If I have some more space, or if I find an ice machine, I'll throw one in there or something. But then people were like, the big thing started popping up with cryo, with nitrogen cryo. So people are like, "Oh man, you got to get one of those." I'm like, I don't know, those are really expensive. I don't know if we're at that point yet. Yeah. But with those, when I started doing research, besides the cost of it, was my office currently Humidity Natural Healthcare Practitioner on Ponce de Leon and Del Parque. So it was one-way traffic and on a steep hill. Both sides, so there's no parking. So I was like, how am I going to get these huge nitrogen containers delivered and rolled into
every week or something
into the space? So I didn't have the space for it, and I didn't know how I was going to manage getting nitrogen. It's just not easy. Like in the States, there's just parking everywhere, and you back right into the back door and just wheel it in. So when we started, what was it? Mid last year, early last year, we had the opportunity to open up Remedy. I was like, I need like a small chiropractic office and maybe a mini Humidity. And then I was like, wow, I don't have the space for a massage. So I was like, maybe a cryo unit here would work. And so I started doing more research. And then at this point, they've already changed from nitrogen to now a company does full electric. So I was like, I think I can handle full electric, even though electric prices here are insane. I was like, maybe I'm crazy.
Loma, be kind.
I was like, maybe I'm crazy,
please.
But it just seems price per session, even with the prices of electricity in Puerto Rico, that it was going to be less and less hassle than
with nitrogen.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I think nitrogen is usually $7-8 a session. So. And it's 3.5 minutes.
And
of
the
cold.
tanks also
tanks take up space and delivery and having those contracts. So this was just plug it in and it's ready to go. As long as the power grid's okay, we're okay. We were shut down 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
We didn't have power. So at that point, I didn't have space for massage therapists, and I kind of wanted this second office to be a little easier to manage. So I didn't want to have a bunch of too many physical therapists, assistants, or massage therapists. It was like, I have that at Humidity. So over here, I'll just do cryo and compression boots and soft tissue work, but more shorter periods, like 15-minute, 20-minute soft tissue work sessions or boot sessions, rather than 1 hour, 3 hours.
But it's perfect. Like my case, it was perfect because I got in right into the cryo, and your guy there asked me at what temperature?
Are you a pro or are you a rookie?
I was like, I want the hardest one. You done this before? I want the coldest one. But I want the coldest one. That's it.
Just double diamond. Let's just go double diamond. I don't care. And if I need to, I'll step out.
Exactly. And he told me that the time slot was for 3.5 minutes, and then different from the nitrogen ones, where you're on a tank up to here with your head out. On this one, you're on a refrigerator.
Yeah, it's literally like a glass door refrigerator.
Yeah, it's a glass door. You step in, and as soon as I opened that door, my eyes went teary. But I cried. It was so cold.
Let those tears freeze.
And then exactly, so I have tears right here, and was like, oh my God, what if this tear freezes? What about my eye? Such a bitch. But
he's always crying.
Always.
He's crying grass, and he's crying with cryo.
I'm a sentimental guy.
He's sensitive.
I'm open. But I thought at first that it was going to be harder to manage it, but you have your headphones like this with music, whatever you want to hear, and you can actually move. I've seen people doing poses like air squats or
Yeah,
stuff
people
like that.
try to keep them as
Because
blood
you
flowing as possible.
you have space.
Yeah,
so
you can move. You can
so
do
you can
squats and just shake your hands and keep moving.
Yeah, so you put on some gloves, obviously, then some shoes. You put on headphones. You have like a beanie for bald people or people with the
Yeah, I mean, you just have ear protection.
Okay.
Like if they want to have a beanie on, they can. And
They
then
can.
sometimes most people wear like something over your nose, like a little face mask,
Okay.
just so your breath warms your nose
Yeah,
up. But other than
exactly.
that, it's wherever comfortable. Like some people are wearing swim trunks, and other people get in there with a sweatshirt.
Exactly, yeah.
They're like, I'm gonna try it, but I'm not gonna go full. Like I'm not gonna show any skin to get
Yeah.
in there.
I went
But that's
almost
the other
almost
thing
naked.
is it's since it's electric, it's cold air circulating with a
Exactly.
fan and like a wind chill factor,
Mhm.
basically, rather than liquid nitrogen, which is a gas, which is also a little more dangerous.
Mhm.
You-
Yeah.
You'll see like
it's a gas.
Antonio Brown's like, I'm not gonna wear shoes in there. Then he
Uh-huh.
burned his feet.
Yeah.
So protective gear first, but definitely easier in the cryo machine, even though it sounds cold. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, minus 180. That's more manageable than cold tub
Okay.
for me. I don't know. Like
It's-
jumping into a cold tub is like
It's horrible.
It's
horrible
It's pain and
yeah.
it's you don't want to move. It's more for me. It's a more mental anguish. Where with that, it's you listen to music
Yeah.
and you're in there. You can move if you want, and it's quicker. It's in out. Like
Yeah,
you're
3
not
minutes
wet.
and that's it.
You know you can basically make a part of your routine of you work out. As long as you're dry, take new clothes, hop out in there, and in 15 minutes you're out and ready for the day. Like a better than coffee.
It is. But I'm not a coffee drinker, so. But so what's going on like in the body, like when you're inside during those 3 minutes, like blood wise?
So I mean, your body's it's so cold that everything from your extremities, your body's like, oh, this is a stressor. So
Mhm.
it's protect your vital organs. So
Exactly,
blood
and
flow
that's
goes from extremity, and that's why you have to wear gloves and
Mhm.
and the boots, going from extremities all the way to organs. And when you get out,
You feel that.
it kind of flushes things back through. So, I mean, for me, just hopping out of the cryo, I almost feel more awake. But then 2 or 3 days later, I feel like I have way more energy, which most people, I think that's one of the bigger benefits is besides like pain, inflammation, obviously, it's just that nervous system reboot and reoxygenating all your blood. And the other one's skin conditions, because it has the most coverage. It's getting the coldest aspect of it. So people with skin conditions tend to do better in a cryo chamber if they do it regularly, like twice a week for, a month.
Yeah. When I was there was this guy, probably he's a grandfather, probably like 60 something, and he was talking to everybody over there because he was so amazed. He had like some sleeping disorders, and I think that that was his second month going like 3 times a week, and he was talking about how energized he felt and how he can go to sleep like at the same hour every day. Like obviously he did like lifestyle changes,
Yeah.
but also the fact that the cryo helped him like through the process and the consistency.
Yeah.
I think that is a big fact here, right?
Yeah, it's the same.
As
Kind of
everything.
going back to chiropractic too. It's getting onto a consistent treatment, and then as you start to get better, you don't need it as much.
Exactly.
Also, the same thing is he was talking about he consistent, but if you're spending money doing this, you better do
Yeah,
the
other
other
things,
things, because like I think that like to think that one thing is going to cure all your problems isn't the way to do it. It's like, okay, are you free things? Are you taking a walk in the morning, going for a run, swimming, whatever free exercise you want to do, or have a coach. Hydration, which is one of the big ones that most people are like, yeah, I drink half my body weight in water every day. And you're like, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
No, you
I can
don't.
feel it in your hamstrings. You don't.
No, you don't. And in Puerto Rico, that's so hard because there's so so much humidity down here that you're sweating all the time,
Yeah.
like, and it's crazy.
And half the time we're drinking coffees instead of.
And I remember, I was taking this course from the guys from RP, and they were talking about like when you just before a training session, let's say that you weigh 75 kilograms, and then right after you were training in a place like Puerto Rico that is really, really hot, really, really humid, and then you go all the way down like to 74 kilograms. So you lost 2 pounds in water. So what most people think is that, okay, so I lost 2 pounds in water, so I will drink those 2 pounds back and I'm good. And he's like, no, you need to drink those 2 pounds and 2 more so you can
Get it back.
truly
And
keep it. Because through the day, doesn't matter what you do, even if probably now when we go down the stairs and then walk to the car, we're going to start sweating. It's like a 10 paces of water. So you got to drink water. So
Yep.
what's your take on that? Like half your body, more, a little bit less, like for your patients?
I just like you, I probably read about it and it said drink half your body weight. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds doable. Yeah. So for me, that's what I do. I just have I just have one of those big.
Yeah, and you start.
And it makes it easier now because I got the double insulated containers now. So I just throw it full of ice and load it up for the day. And if I have to refill it and go from there.
That's a good day when you have to refill it. I'm doing my job. I got it.
You know, people are like, how many steps and how many hours of sleep? You know, all those things add up. It's true.
Yeah,
Sleep,
that's
exercise,
great.
Hydration.
That's
Those are the
great.
big ones.
So where can people find you guys? Where you at?
Like social media, mainly. We don't do a lot of marketing other than that. Natural Health Chiropractic is on Ponce de Leon in Del Parque, and then Remedy is right across from Coliseo, which is Remedy Plus PR, and then Humidity Athlete social media tag and NHC PR. But I mean, if you call one of them, the NHC and Humidity are combined.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a speakeasy spa. Some people at the chiropractic side have never. I don't know if they don't look up or what, but they're like, "You have a spa here?" I'm like, "It's right across the door, right there."
That door right there.
Right there. Like, so both sides, and then some people they just go to Humidity. You're like, "There's a chiropractor here." I'm like, yeah, it's right there, the door, it's the same sign.
Yeah,
but that's about it. We really just do word of mouth, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, it's always been when we first started, we did a lot of, I felt like in 2008 when we got here, Puerto Rico was going through like this new exercise. Before it was like, no, we're not exercising. There was like 5 or 6 gyms that I can think of, you know, your big ones.
Yeah.
And then they started doing 5Ks. And so when we were getting ready to open the office, we would write them and they would like, hey, yeah, bring your table. It's free. We just want people at the expo. And then it just, from there, we just started getting more clients because we do a lot of soft tissue work and seeing athletes that way. And then it really just exploded from there into eventually Puerto Rico started. I mean, we went from 1 5K a month to now there was one every weekend. And it was like, oh, we'll come. And they're like, no, it's $500 now. We're like, oh, what?
Why?
What? They're like, no, it's $1,000 for a table now. I was like, what? So then we said, heck with that. We just started doing other events. And then by that time, CrossFit was getting big. So we started popping into more. And CrossFit was kind of a niche too, because really CrossFit and chiropractic kind of the culture is kind of the same. So people that aren't patients or don't do CrossFit are like, oh yeah, you like those CrossFitters, huh? Cha-ching, cha-ching. And I was like, yeah, of course I like CrossFitters. And obviously people that do CrossFit push themselves and are in pain, just like anybody that does any athletic sport. But with CrossFit, the nutrition style is pretty similar. Like chiropractic is all.
There's more awareness, right, on their side.
You know, because it was like the paleo days and diets where like,
wow,
you know, you're like, hey, quit eating shit that causes inflammation and pain. Chiropractors are saying that, and then CrossFit's like, hey, quit eating sugar and
Yeah.
flours and white processed foods.
Mhm.
So it's like that's an alignment. Chiropractic is all about mobility. You need to be able to move properly. CrossFit is you have to be able to move properly or it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Like if
Otherwise,
you can't deep
you
squat,
won't be able
you're
to
in trouble.
snatch, squat.
You don't have a good wrist
Yeah.
mobility. Your form on the other things are going to be bad. So all those things started, kind of aligned together. So it made sense. And for me, it just at that point, I was like, I'm tired of just going to the gym and doing certain body points. I just want to go to a gym and someone already have the program set and just do it and get out. Because after working 8 hours I got headaches. I got this and this. It was like at the end of the day, I was like, I don't even want to think about this exercise. I just want to show up and do the programming. And 1 hour later, I'm out the door.
Yeah.
But it's been good having the relationship with CrossFit owners, and because we do CrossFit, and our other chiropractor is a, a big CrossFitter, that we kind of know what they're going through.
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know, track athlete, maybe I don't know as much because I've never ran track, but as far as CrossFit, we were like, hey, I can't do overhead thrusters. I was like, well, we know what you're talking about because we know how hard it is.
We've been through that.
We've been through it, so we know we got to work on ankle, hip, T-spine, and shoulder to get them to that point. Yep.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's what I like about you guys so much, that you're not the typical doctor that, just spills out what he read or learned. You guys train, and that's so important because I remember the first time I was injured, but way back in the day, like maybe 2010 or something like that. And I went to this physical therapist and was terrible. He was like, why are you lifting so much weight? And I was like, because I want to fucking compete. Why?
It's part of the.
Why wouldn't I?
Comes with the territory.
And then I went to another one, and he was the physical therapist for Puerto Rico when they go out, and it was great because I wasn't like. So I was doing this jerk, and he was like, split or push, and I was like, oh my god, he knows his shit. So it was the same with you guys, and I love that so much. So remember, even though if you're an athlete with chronic pain, this guy. If you're pregnant, this guy. If your kid doesn't sleep as well,
It's like snake
this
oil.
guy.
We got you covered.
Yeah, every spectrum. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete or you only walk 3 times a day. This guy. Remember, this is not only for dealing with chronic pain. It is a lifestyle. You move. We're built and we evolve to move. So be ready and call them, okay? See you guys.